Hi, I'm Suzanne Mumford, and I am the head of marketing for the Google Analytics 360 suite. Thrilled to spend a little bit of time with you all today to talk about modern marketing, as well as some other key topics that are important for today's analytics world. In terms of today's agenda, we have a couple of different topics. The first is precisely walking through some of our key topics for today, including how marketers are going about rethinking measurement today. Additionally, we'll be talking a little bit about how modern marketing is shaping the future of our marketing world today. Additionally, we will walk you through a case study of how businesses today are using some of the tools and techniques to drive incremental success. And then finally, we'll leave you to your own thoughts so that you can think about how you can take some of this information and apply it to your own business. So let's talk about rethinking measurement. At Google, we like to think about rethinking measurement as really something that became part of a great importance since mobile became since mobile became central to today's world. Most of today's digital marketers learned their craft in the desktop era. Marketers often operated under the assumption that consumers would go to their website and spend time to browse information or research products across multiple page views on their way to purchase. And oftentimes, their site design reflected this, with home pages that offered a variety of products and category pages that were merchandised just like a store. However, these days, consumers' lives are filled with micro moments, intent-rich moments when we turn to the nearest device to find a store, buy a ticket, or look for answers to all kinds of wants and needs. In these moments, today's consumers decide what to do, where to go, and what to buy. Basically, mobile changed everything for everyone. Consumer behavior shifted from sessions to spurts, with the average time per visitor declining, but the number of visits per user increasing. At Google, we have lots of data to show this, but you don't have to look beyond your own behavior really to see that it's true. If you're in marketing analytics, you know that this has actually created a magnificent opportunity. It's easier than ever to gather data about consumer behavior, yet with an increasing number of screens, channels, and touch points, it's harder than ever to keep it all straight, connect the dots, find useful insights, and then turn those insights into action. As a result, marketers today are no longer dealing with a captive visitor. Instead, they have to deliver utility for consumers in brief moments of engagement. And oftentimes, many of these moments together across multiple devices actually add up to a sale, a transaction, whatever your eventual goals are as a marketer. But for enterprises, this shift in behavior had not only required capturing more data than ever before, but identifying new ways to make sense of it and use it. For example, as you can see right now on screen, sophisticated marketers who use analytics platforms are 3 times more likely to outperform their peers. This was a research study conducted by Forrester. And when we're talking about outperforming their peers, we're talking about it in the sense of achieving revenue goals. What we also found out through this research study is that many tool sets cannot cope. Oftentimes, tool sets are too hard to use, lacks significant collaboration tools, are really poorly integrated, or just take up too much training. And this is where the notion of modern marketing really starts to come into play. What we're learning is that to succeed, modern marketers must be able to do 4 things. The first is see full visibility into consumer behavior across devices. The second is the ability to get useful insights, not just more data. The third is the ability to share insights and collaborate with everyone. And the fourth is to deliver engaging experiences to the right people. So marketers require fast and complete data sets to see what's happening across all touch points, channels, and devices. But this really means understanding the full context of a user journey instead of only measuring a session, a single device, or even last click media performance. What this really means from a toolset standpoint is it means integrating data across multiple touch points. But this is not an easy task. For example, a Forrester study from 2016 shows that 84% of marketers do not believe that their data sources are well integrated. This is a tremendous challenge, and success will be limited until we actually find out ways to, as a large industry, make tools that are much easier to use. As you can see here, this is a quote from Harvard Business Review, and it states, "Businesses that integrate multiple sources of customer and marketing data significantly outperform other companies in terms of sales, profits, and margin. They also had dramatically higher shareholder returns." And again, this was from a study by Harvard Business Review in 2016. In other words, though, visibility into the consumer journey creates competitive advantage. One of the other things that we're starting to learn more of is that not only is data integration a critical component, but the number of sources, as you can see here, that integrate are actually critical to increasing that visibility. So marketers also need enormous computing power, data science, and smart algorithms all working together to quickly make sense of all the data available to them. In order to get insights, tools not only have to be easy to use, but yes, they have to be smart. You can see here right now, we have a stat that showcases 60% of marketers said that their marketing measurement tools are difficult to use, reducing cross-team collaboration. This is a major problem. If data truly is the next frontier in marketing, then tool sets that are easy to use will be baseline to success, because you can't have only a few experts knowing how to use tools. Basically, many tools were built for a time when customer data was scarce. So they spit back data out to you instead of providing real data, real insights that have been driven from that data. And basically, this means that data historically had been put into silos and left to those who could sort of hack through it and mine for something very interesting. So this whole notion of getting insights, not data, is also tremendously dependent on using systems and tools that contain built-in intelligence so they can really do the heavy lifting for you. And one of the reasons why that's become so important is that you can see here in statistics that we've used is in 2015, 1 trillion devices were actually connected to the internet, generating 2.5 billion gigs a day. And this data is, could probably even use a refresh. There's a great quote from Eric Schmidt, the executive chairman of Alphabet. And he likes to state that machine learning, this is the next transformation. Instead of programming a computer, you teach a computer to learn something and it does exactly what you want. And we definitely are seeing this tactic and this intelligence being played out throughout marketing analytics. Tools that can help you gain insight that are truly easy to use mean that you can suddenly activate everyone in your organization with data and knowledge. Putting data into everyone's hands strengthens cross-functional goals and drives smarter decision-making and ultimately better customer experiences. The challenge today is that many marketers are not able to share their data and insights across the organization, right? As we previously mentioned, those data insights all of that knowledge are stuck in silos within individual business departments. So as we begin to think about this notion of modern marketing, we start to think about how could we use systems and tools that make sharing to wide audiences just as easy as we do in our personal life, right? Certainly things like Google Docs or social networking, where it's very easy for us to share information. Those types of things and features should be brought into how we're using marketing analytics and throughout our workplace. You can see here, this is another piece of data from Harvard Business Review that basically just reiterates once again how organizational silos really are one of the biggest barriers to improving our customer experience. But what we are starting to see is that these best-in-class companies who are overcoming this challenge are breaking down silos, and they're delivering stronger financial performance. So you can continuously see here that companies that are leading the charge, they're doing things first, they are the leaders, are seeing competitive advantage. And one of the reasons why we wanted to share this information with you today is that you too can feel inspired by some of this knowledge, so you can take practices back and hopefully implement them for your business. Ultimately, though, we're marketers, and we have a primary responsibility, which is about delivering engaging, useful experiences to our customers, right? In fact, most companies are expecting to compete on customer experience in 2016. Most companies have now recognized that they do need to compete on customer experience. However, they aren't sure how they will go about doing that and doing it at scale. So that's another reason why we wanted to share some practices with you today, so that you would be able to learn a little bit more about how people are actually taking a statistic like 89%, but then translating it into actual practices within their organization. You can see here that this is just a graphic that I really love to share because it really shows the power of data, the power of insight, because a lot of times our customers are not always who we expect them to be, right? And we have 3 examples here. So 56% of sporting goods searchers on mobile are actually female. Oftentimes, not always, some people will bias thinking males versus females when it comes to sports. A second example here is that 45% of home improvement searchers on mobile are actually women. Again, it's potentially possible that people bias and think of home improvement and think of merely men, and that is not the case. Similarly, our last example here, 68% of skin and body care influencers in the past 6 months were men. Again, skin and body care often thought of as something that biased towards women. Actually, in this data set, you can see that men actually really do care about it significantly as well. So now I thought we could take a few moments and transition to talk a little bit about modern marketing and talk about what modern marketing means when it comes to thinking about analytics tools, when it starts to really become real for your organization. What are those principles? How does this play out? So I wanted to walk through sort of 4 pillars that we like to think of at Google when we think about modern marketing. And really when we think about solutions that have been designed to win each of those consumer moments that we talked about at the beginning throughout the multi-screen consumer journey today. It's incredibly complex. So basically, the first piece here is about users and journeys, not sessions and devices, right? Understanding that full context is incredibly important. The second here is around the ability to gain more insights, not more data, right? And this is where that built-in intelligence and technology really play a strong role. The third is around access and collaboration and how this really empowers smarter decision making. So the more people you have accessing information, sparking dialogues, and sharing their work and collaborating together, ultimately we like to think the more brains you have on that particular problem and the higher likelihood of reaching a solution for it. And then finally, creating those engaging, more personal customer experiences. And the way to really do this, as far as it relates to a tool set, is through integrations. The more data sources you have about different types of consumer behavior, the more data sources you have integrating these various touch points, the more you will actually be able to deliver on customizing those experiences. And this is the thinking that was really applied when Google created the Google Analytics 360 suite. And basically, the suite offers powerful and integrated analytics for today's biggest enterprises. It provides the opportunity for marketers to measure and improve the impact of marketing across screens, channels, and moments. It's very easy to use. It makes data accessible for everyone in the organization who you deem would want to be a part of this. And it helps marketers discover and use all of those really important insights that you'll need to use in order to win in your particular market. So you can see here, when we think about the Google Analytics 360 suite, we think about 7 different measurement products that are all integrated into one platform. And I'll start here. If you look at the top row, Data Studio 360, that's really our data analysis and visualization. So you can imagine when you start to collect lots of information, you need a tool that will be able to help you tell stories with that data. Because ultimately, we realize as business people, as marketers, that you do need to tell stories and likely convince people within your organization to act on data. Now, if we move on from the actual data visualization, you can see here 6 different products that all help you in various aspects of your marketing analytics. The first is really the foundation of all analytics, and that's really customer insights. Within our 360 suite, it is our flagship product, and it's called Analytics 360. The next product is a product called Optimize 360, and Optimize 360 allows marketers to create and test different website options to show consumers. So you could think of it as a tool where you could segment consumers into different groups, and then based on geography or purchase behaviors, you could show them different web pages so you can bring what's most important to those consumers first, so they don't have to go deep within your website to find something on their own. The third product here is Attribution 360. And Attribution 360 allows digital marketers the ability to actually assign fractional credit to different points within the customer journey. And after you've done that, our robust reporting tool and much of our data science will then grind through it and tell you what forms of your media are performing best, both at a micro level, so you can optimize individual campaigns, and then also at a macro level, so that you can optimize your entire marketing mix. The next product here is called Audience Center 360. This is our audience targeting and our audience database. What this allows you to do is, once you know who your audience is, you can actually go into the tool and find other consumers that are just like those audiences. So then you can put out more relevant messages to similar audiences that you know are working well for your business. The next product here is Tag Manager 360, and most digital marketers will know what tag management is, but it's a way for marketers and it's a way for digital marketers to really collect lots of information from websites, but also make changes on the fly without having to involve IT, thus creating lots of time lags. One thing I'm super excited about to share with you today is a brand new product for Google, and it's called Surveys 360. And Surveys 360 is really a market research tool. And it's an incredibly exciting tool because it really allows marketers to start combining their brand data with their performance data. So you can think about it, if you're online, you can see a lot of information about what consumers are doing, how they're behaving, but you don't necessarily know why they're doing these things. Well, imagine you could then run a survey to consumers across the web and start to ask them why they're behaving in certain ways and really fill that gap. And as I mentioned, once we fill that gap, we're really starting to venture into brand territory. So we are starting to see this convergence between marketing and brand, which I as a marketer find absolutely thrilling and definitely a new frontier for everyone to be a part of. Now what you're seeing right here, just to make it sort of all real to you, the product that I'm sharing with you today is live, is out there, is available for you to play with. This is a screen from our Analytics 360 suite. You can see at the top hand side here the ability for you to toggle in between different products. This particular page is the home page, so you can see here different statistics about how products are performing, things that maybe you would want to know about when you logged in the morning. And again, the Suite Home is part of the package. This is another example here with just various different product cards that live on the overview page. So you can see here what it looks like when you are going through each product within the suite and some of the functionality that each use. Now, I thought what may be a good use of time would be to actually walk you through how the suite works. Because we've talked a lot about it theoretically, and a lot of times marketers today are purchasing individual point solutions, meaning you know that website testing is very important, so maybe you'll go out, you'll buy a one-off tool, someone else in your department is already responsible for running the website analytics, then you need to integrate them together. But what we're really showing here on this screen is with one platform, the ability to really go from insight to impact significantly faster, because these tools were built to work together from the ground up, right? And the vision for the product is to get to a place where imagine you would have a segment of customers built in the Analytics 360 tool, and it was just a simple click for you to access that very same segment in your optimized 360 product, right? So that significantly reduces the integration time, or there really is none, significantly reduces the learning curve of new products and new definitions within systems. So I think it's a real benefit. But let me walk you through a use case here. So for example, let's say you're a major retailer. You can see here, as a major retailer in the center, you're responsible for running integrated marketing programs. And you really want to basically know more about your consumers so you can be more useful to them in all of these moments that matter, right? When they're deciding what to buy, where to buy it. And our Analytics 360 product really enables marketers to see how their customers are behaving across their website, across their apps. You can import data from offline if you need to. But basically, using Analytics 360, let's say for the purposes of this example, you discover a really high-performing audience. Now, what do I mean by high-performing? Let's say it's a group of website visitors who buy basket sizes or have basket sizes that are 50% higher than average on your site. So you know that this audience is extremely important to your business because they're big spenders. So it obviously would make a lot of sense for you to talk in a more personalized way with these people. So let's talk a little bit about how you would reach these people once you understand a little bit more about who they are by using Google Analytics 360. So let's say that we do know from this data that this audience spends time searching for products on Google.com. So what you could do is you could create a tailored advertising campaign to remarket to these people instantly when they're looking for related products on Google.com. And this is one of the real benefits of tapping into the Analytics 360 suite. That is our native integration with our AdWords product. So that basically within just a few clicks, you could leverage your remarketing for search lists and then begin to deploy additional advertising creative to reach them. But imagine that you also wanted to find more people like these high value people on your website, right? So you would essentially go to Audience Center 360, which is a data management platform, and you could use a lookalike tool, use various demographic information to find similar characteristics of those high value segments that you had on your website within the Audience Center product itself. And then you could essentially take that list that had been created and then again deploy new advertising to reach those people. And you could even do so through our native integration with DoubleClick Bid Manager, which basically allows you to use programmatic ads. Again, highly scalable way to reach people so that you can most effectively reach your target audience. But now we're talking basically a lot about ads, which is great. But I mentioned earlier the importance of really discovering a little bit about the why. So you could technically take those same lists of audiences and then you could send to them the Google Surveys 360 product, so that you are able to ask those consumers very specific questions about why they were taking specific behaviors. Maybe you could ask them about their purchase habits. Maybe you weren't entirely sold that this new audience you created in 360 was just as similar as the one on your site, and you wanted to run surveys so that you could identify just how similar they were. You could absolutely do that. And again, this is a new feature and we're starting to see it really take off, particularly when it comes to businesses who are interested in finding out maybe, hey, why did this segment of consumers who visited my website not buy? So if you learn a little bit about those intentions, then of course, hopefully you can make adjustments as needed on your website so that you could convert more of those browsers into buyers. So you can see here we've talked a lot about the native integrations with some of Google's products. Very important aspect to the suite. But speaking of important aspects to the suite is, so imagine that you have collected all of this data through your analytics products. You've found a wider or a broader audience to share more customized advertising messages with, which is great. But then imagine if you just bring them to a website after they've clicked on an ad, but that website is exactly the same for each person. That's probably not the best experience. So you can imagine really using the Optimize 360 product so that you could then take those groups of people that you've segmented out originally, starting with Analytics 360, and then again throughout Audience Center AdWords, DoubleClick, and you could actually start to give those groups of people different landing pages because you know more about them, you know more about their needs and wants. So it's sort of at the heart of personalized and engaging marketing to be able to customize that website experience for them. Next here you can see is really our Attribution 360 product. And the Attribution 360 product now lets you really evaluate, okay, we've been taking all of these new measures with our customers, delivering them more personalized experience, whether it be on the website, whether it be ads, whether it be gaining insight with survey data. But how are we actually performing? Where are we performing the best? And you can, again, like we talked about earlier, do this at a macro level or at a micro level. So there really is an evaluation criteria that can be set for many people within your business when it comes to modeling and defining the success of various marketing efforts and campaigns. And then finally, a tremendously important part and piece to this puzzle is data is only as good as the action it drives. And in my opinion, the ability for marketers to actually storytell within their own organizations in a very succinct and simple way so that executives can actually learn what's happening and then make decisions based on that data is essential. And that's why we're starting to see all of these new data visualization tools really become significantly more important in the market because it helps people grind through that data. It helps people internally tell those compelling stories or not so compelling stories to the right people to drive action within organizations. Now you can see here on screen, this is just an example of precisely what we just described, but again, just illustrating sort of how all of these components work together. So we obviously have the Analytics 360 suite. We have the opportunity to plug the suite directly into DoubleClick. We have the ability to plug it into Google AdWords. One important component to the suite that lots of more technical folks really like is the ability to export data into BigQuery, which is part of our Google Cloud platform. And that enables really, really significant, robust analysis of lots of different types of data sets. And then finally, I would certainly be remiss if I didn't include this. The suite is an open platform, so you can plug various types of technology and data sets right into it because we're fully aware of the fact that you're working with lots of different people. You have lots of different systems that you have, so it really is important to us to build a tool that works for you with many different types of tools. So I think we've been talking a lot theoretically about the suite and how technically it can work. But I thought now, at least it helps me when I'm learning about new technologies and I'm learning about new spaces to hear how an actual company is using a tool set like this. So I just wanted to spend a few moments to walk through an example. So you can see right now L'Oreal Canada. Now L'Oreal Canada is a case study, and it's one of my favorite case studies. But basically, L'Oreal Canada was using Google Analytics 360 suite, more specifically the analytics product within the suite, and they were able to segment various consumers coming to their website and then take that audience data that they had and then buy media via our integration with DoubleClick. And basically, deploy media that was more customized for these different audiences. And the results were absolutely fantastic. You can see here that L'Oreal actually received a 2,200% return on ad spend, or what we call ROAS. It drove almost 2x the anticipated revenue, and it exceeded CPA targets. And as you suspected, what was L'Oreal, like what were their goals? And they really wanted to sell hair care products, right? And you can see here just how tremendously successful that was. Like I mentioned, it is one of my favorite cases, but the suite is out there. It is being used by many, many businesses, and we're fortunate enough that some of these businesses are beginning to share their success stories with us. And as we learn more, of course, we'll share that with folks out there. A couple of other businesses who are using the suite and have seen success are Progressive and Nest. So you can see here on the screen right now, Progressive, which is an insurance company, really used our Analytics 360 product to discover how their consumers or potential customers were interacting with their app. The insights that they gained were so valuable that they actually learned people wanted to buy insurance inside an app, and they didn't have buy software within that app. So they actually deployed their tech team to go ahead and build that functionality into their app and give their consumers and potential customers precisely what they wanted. And as a result, you can imagine that they certainly did gain more customers as a result. Next, you can see up here on screen, Nest, which is one of Alphabet's companies, is really one of those, I would say, companies that lives and breathes modern marketing. We're fortunate in the sense that they do often get to test new products with Google. But they've been testing some of the components of the Google Analytics 360 suite, and they are really seeing a lot about, when they're spending marketing dollars, what percentage of those dollars are working and what percentage of those dollars are not, so that they can do more of what's working, less of what's not. And they've been pretty pleased so far, so we're thrilled. Now on screen, you can see just a little bit of a summary of the various capabilities of the products within the suite. Can be a little bit overwhelming. So I'll just sum it up really in three succinct bullets. When you think of the suite, think of powerful data integrations, both inter-suite, so that's with products across the entire collection, but also within Google Media and tools, plus integrations with third parties. The second point here is that the suite provides a unified and centralized product experience and controls that are really easy for user administrative to use. Like I mentioned, it really has been built for sophisticated enterprises. So these are organizations that have, quite a bit of users. They have to have specific access for certain products, specific access for different data sets, and that it's really important that that system of protection is in place. Finally, we do have enterprise class services. We have service levels agreements. We have user management, all with the Google team. We also have a very large and robust partner ecosystem that does a lot of consulting as well. So it is an exciting time to be a part of marketing analytics. And I would like to say, if I could just leave you with 4 takeaways, and these are important no matter what analytics tool set that you decide to begin to review and investigate, is that the future of marketing really is about users and journeys, not sessions and devices. We're looking at a comprehensive view of people who are out there and really learning about how to improve marketing. The second aspect is really around the ability to generate more insights. No one is at risk of not having too much data today. That's in fact one of our biggest challenges. It's how do you have the right type of technology actually processing that data so that it can surface really business critical insights for you. And that is something that a lot of folks have dubbed, machine intelligence and machine learning today. And it is the future of many of these technology sets when they're done correctly. The third component is access and collaboration, really just to empower smarter decision making. So I always like to think of it as sort of gone are the days of just having a few analytics practitioners sort of somewhere located in a back office. I think that marketing analytics, in order for businesses to really adopt and really find that competitive advantage, these tools will have to be widely usable. Just like technology and tools within our personal lives are thriving, so will technology and tools within marketing organizations. They will become friendlier, easier to use, and you can see how a lot of the themes that we've been describing, such as more insights, less data, they do feed into one another. And then finally, the full power of data when and where you need it. And this is a must-have because the other three pieces don't work unless you have the right data flowing into your systems. And by having a tool set, at least with 7 different products that have been built to work together, those integrations have been basically, a lot of the heavy lifting has been done for you, since they will exist ahead of time rather than these various point solutions. So with that, really thrilled to share some of this information with you. And if you are looking for more information, we do have a site that you can visit. It's g.co/360insights. So please check it out, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.